Welcome back to FreedoniaCon 2025. We have with us the art director for a lot of things right now, including 1879 and Aetherstream. He also has made the two webcomic lines we have, and does a ton of artwork for every one of our lines. The lovely Don Higgins.
I don't know if I'd go with lovely, but okay, I'll take it.
Lovely is a nice word.
How is I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What?
I said lovely is a nice word. You are obviously not tipsy enough yet.
Oh, okay, that's true. I have to agree to that.
I practiced before you got here.
Oh, heard about practices. Anyway, how is everybody tonight? I hope everybody's feeling good. If anybody's going to, I'm curious if anybody else is to draw while I'm drawing.
I'm drawing in my own style, if that counts.
Works. One's own style is always encouraged.
In my case, it's code.
I'm sure the art form would. So tonight I'm gonna be basic talk about why do I do. This is, like I said, an example of something I did over the past 2 weeks online during the that's a Twitch channel on Wednesdays. I was feeling very wintry, and I sat down and did this. It was a lot of fun, but it's basically just sit down and let the pencil lead me. I did the process for this was in a lot of ways how I did 365 past year. There were times that I had something specific in mind. I'd always start with a blank sheet of paper, basically. In this case, digital piece of paper, but I start with a blank canvas and start with basic shapes. There are also times that I'll be looking down at the floor, the linoleum on my floor, and you see all the marbling and things like that. I'll look at that and see faces, see shapes, see creatures and monsters and fauna, all kinds of things if you just let your imagination go with it. There is a great book that talks about this process, and a book by Julie Andrews. Yes, that Julie Andrews. She wrote a book called The Last of the Really Great Wangdoodle. I read it when I was a very boy, and they talk about how most people have forgotten to see things that aren't there. And that's one of my philosophies of drawing, is seeing things that most people have forgotten to look for. Now, if you've been in the stream, I'll talk while I get rid of some of this stuff here so I can start with a flat screen. If you've been to my stream, know that my process is, or you've heard me talk about philosophy art. My philosophies start with draw what you see, not what you know. And get right here. And once you can sit down, look at a piece of furniture, and you can draw it and all lights, the shadows, and draw that chair. That's drawing what you see, not what you know. The second philosophy then kicks in. What we see depends greatly upon what we're looking for. Now, I can see a line of rocks that form a wall. I live up in New England, and there's lots of rock walls. Now, if you see this rock wall, can you see warriors of it preparing for battle? That's what I look for. I look for the wars. I've taught daughter to do it as well. I look for what most people don't see. And the last of the really great Wangdoodles talks about that. If you look at row and how the branches come up out of the ground and arc and meet, and don't see that as a bush, you see that as a gate or an arch for a set of doors that lead to a soul. That's looking beyond what's in front of you, and like being able to see and being, if that's what I want to look for, that's what I'm trying to see. And yeah, the beer's already affecting me. it's about the
Good.
ability
You're catching
to.
up.
Okay. It's that fucking philosophy. What we see depends greatly on what we're looking for. If I'm looking to go beyond just the hedge line, being able and see to everybody else. Now, the third philosophy usually comes from when I'm giving a talk at like a school, and there's a young person in the crowd who this very confused look in their face, and I'm watching them. I'm like, that's the one who's going to ask the question this time, and it usually comes around almost done with the talk. The kid is trying to work up the courage to ask the question. I know it's coming, and finally it does. In the middle of the class, he said, she said, "Mr. Higgins, yes. You say draw what you see, not what you know, right?" And he says, or he or she says, "You draw a dragon? Yes. I see dragons. Why don't you?" Where the teacher usually stands up and goes, "Excuse me, you see dragons?" Like, come on, guys. What is a dragon? I'll say that to the group here. What is a dragon if not a lizard? And what does this dragon have? Well, the kids will say, wings. Right. And if I see a picture of a lizard and a picture of a bat that zooms out, I see dragons. Why don't you? And all the little lights go off as they go, "It's that easy?" Yes! It's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's art. It's creativity. And allowing yourself the opportunity to expand on that. So let me get drawing here. I'm just going to do what I normally do. I'm going to pick my brush here, and I'm going to look at just a and you see my little tool running around, but let me try, and I'm going to do a little thumbnail up here in the corner. And let's that's a little harder so you can see the shape. Okay. All right. Now, a thumbnail is called thumbnail because it's for you. It's not for anybody else. It is just that you can work out some things for yourself and look at the just that kind of unfold in front of you. And looking at these things allows you to just mess around. It's doodling. That's all there is to it. Just plain old doodling. And you'll you expand on the little thing that you like in this, and then you move on to the next little thing, and you move on to the next little thing, which helps you. I like that arc. I'm gonna do this. Yeah.
What if you didn't like something?
And I'm on. For example, there. See this little arc here? I'm not going to use it,
Okay.
but it's there in case it turns out to be a happy mistake. Yes, happy mistakes exist. James, you'll attest to that. Now, most of you, I'm sure, look at this and go, where the heck do you go with this? I know where I'm going.
Is it an egg with a head?
Nope.
I wanted a creepy, scary Fey hag, but I don't think it's that either.
Nope.
Fraser.
But I've got a basic shape here that I'm liking.
Well, that's cool.
Go. Yeah. Now, that's full of guidelines for me. Guidelines. And the thing that I love to say to anybody that I'm working with is guidelines are for me. They're not written. If I don't like a line, if I put a line down, I don't have to use it. And that's where a lot of kids and artists lose their way. They think, oh, I drew it. Now I've got to do something with it. And I don't. My art director at home, my wife, Tony, she took me to an exhibition at the Boston Museum of Art. And Da Vinci, she has a Da Vinci exhibition there. And I'm looking at all these original sketches of Da Vinci. And I've got a little sketch with me, and I'm drawing and studying the Da Vinci sketches. And I'm realizing his guides are over the pages. He didn't erase them. So when I'm working with kids and they're trying to draw and work a drawing out, I realize the first drawing is never the final drawing. It's the first. When you stop and whatever, you may come back to it later. But first drawing is for the. And if guidelines were good enough for Da Vinci, they're good enough for everybody. That's how you learn. So now that piece, that shadow, that silhouette. You hear on the television show Face Off. Glenn Trick would say, I love silhouette. That he would always have the artist's creations come out in a stark lighting where you could see the silhouette first. And that stirs everybody's imagination who's about to look at what's going to be created. Then light it up. Everybody can see what made that silhouette. So I'm looking at this silhouette, and I am really like where. Oh, let's take that and draw the second drawing. Anybody want to venture a guess how many drawings it takes to make a final piece of artwork?
42. Answer to everything.
It's the answer to everything. It's cheating.
It's not cheating. It's the answer to everything. Like having a skeletal key.
I'm going to say 5.
That's probably a better guess. Anybody else have a good
The
guess?
average drawing for me. And yeah, anybody else want to guess?
It looks like they need you to tell us who's closer, me or Debbie.
Debbie. Closer.
I always
The
lose to
average-
Debbie. Darn it, Debbie.
The average drawing, or the average number of drawings it takes me to get from thumbnail sketch to final is 11. That's if the client doesn't make any choices. Okay. If the client likes what I've done from beginning to end, 11 is a good number. I'm always fixing and changing, adapting, improving.
I know you've done different versions, slightly different versions too, for the
I
client.
have.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. That shape.
It's a garden gnome. Is it a garden gnome?
Kinda. I guess it could be. What was that, darling?
Middle-aged father who makes back his dishes at the pool.
Tony's right. It's another dwarf.
Hmm.
I'm having a beer, so yeah, dwarf.
Brings food. That's why.
Whenever I'm feeling beer, I usually draw a dwarf. And I'm already feeling the beer.
The dwarf gonna be doing? So
Is it
No,
a Dwarven
the
tavern
first year I
keeper?
did this drink and draw. No, no. I don't want to have him be a tavern keeper.
So you're saying
But
the
there
first
is
time you
something
did
that
this?
the first time I did a draw for Don Con, Andy had me do a dancing dwarf.
People like dancing dwarfs.
Well, this guy is a little different.
He's a grumpy dwarf.
Kinda.
If he's grumpy, we can show him videos of Frasier. That makes almost anybody laugh. She thinks she's a bunny.
That's a thought. Do you like think of an emotion or an expression when you're drawing something like this?
Often. But a lot comes to what client want. if the client wants an elf running through the forest with a deer beside it, matching leap for leap, I'm not going to draw something else because that's not what they wanted. So if I'm reading a story, by a story I'm already starting to tell about this guy
So it
in my
sounds
head.
like less of an emotion and more of a backstory type of thing for you.
Exactly. I listen to the backstory, even if I'm the one creating the backstory. I often have to, particularly on the live streams. Now, one of the things thinking about on this is something called a 1,000 years or 1,000 yard stare. And the character is looking out over the horizon, gazing with 1,000 stare. And where I'm going with that where most stories of dwarves are in mountains and very Norse and Germanic settings. What if this dwarf instead of East or Western Europe, he went east?
You gotta find the dragon.
Huh?
Yeah.
No. He's through this 1,000 year stare. And I'm going to put his helmet under his arm. And he's just going to be holding it. So we'll get his hand in there. And then the armor. Basics, shapes.
Sorry, did you say basic 6 shapes?
Nope, just basic shapes.
Oh, okay.
Just trying to get guidelines in. I'm not trying to finish the drawing here. I'm trying to get an underlying drawing.
It's already better than anything I would have drawn. I mean, I'd also be done though, because it's like a circle and 5 lines, so it's pretty
I've
quick.
heard great stories of your stick figures.
I put a lot of thought into them. Doing a dwarf is tricky with a stick figure if you don't have like an elf to put nearby. They just don't understand that it's small. Just draw a smaller one. No size comparison.
Now, the only thing that I'm probably not going to get into here and now is finding reference for my armor. At this point, I really should stop, go find reference, but since it's just a drink and draw and guess, I'm going to go with my gut, or in this case, his, which is protruding quite well.
Why does everyone want
Put
to
his
draw
hand on
dwarfs
the
as being a
sword.
little pudgy?
Absolutely.
Why is that? They're all middle-aged men and they're always pudgy.
I don't know why that is. Anybody want to chime in?
Oh, check, see if somebody types anything.
What was the question?
Why does
Why
everyone
is it when people?
go ahead.
Yeah. Go
Go ahead.
No, you were doing it. Go ahead.
Why is it that when people picture dwarves, they're always middle-aged men who are kind of pudgy? I've never figured this out, but it's a thing. The evil AI thing, if you try to tell it to make a young dwarf or a child-aged dwarf, it's really
Mhm.
messed up. You know, just
Mm.
it can't seem to figure out that a dwarf can be anything other than a middle-aged pudgy male. It's weird. And since they base that stuff off of things they find, that means that most people apparently think that that's what that's supposed to look like. I mean, if you put common or typical in front of dwarf and gave it to James, he'd lose his head. He'd start throwing things at me and then apologize a lot because he's Canadian.
I'll get in Canadians and like
So we see same thing with female dwarfs. It has no idea what a female dwarf would look like. No, that it messes up female dwarfs really bad. You are correct, sir. And Dyer Sis said Tolkien. Yeah, I guess Tolkien would be kind of a foundation. But yes, no, I believe you. I don't think that they can do female dwarfs well either.
What about the series? Um, if two people weigh the same, but one is taller and one is shorter, how do they appear?
But shouldn't there be some dwarves who are like thin? Should there be like a bell
Yes.
curve?
Yes, they're definitely.
But they're always
But I'm
pretty
just
much.
thinking that when we see real people that are shorter, I think we associate that.
Yeah, I can see that as part of it. Frasier.
Okay. So now we have the basic,
Okay.
and now go to a different layer
Ooh,
and
samurai
start laying
dwarf.
down. Yes, it is.
Oh, I actually got it.
It's a samurai. Yes, you got it. It's a samurai dwarf.
I got one right. That never happens.
I'm gonna fast enough here. And we're gonna go there. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. I'm gonna zoom in on him. Get my good line work in.
coming back with like a darker
I am.
pencil or pen?
I'm on a different layer.
Okay.
This is a different layer, and it's another pencil tool brush that I'm using to clean up my line work, take my guideline, and choose the right. I'm gonna stick to.
I like that you chose something non-traditional, though. It's good outside the box thinking.
Thank you.
How did you transition between drawing on paper and drawing digitally?
How did I transition? Or is that the question?
Yes.
Okay. Very difficultly.
Ah,
I fought it. I really fought transitioning to digital.
mhm,
Um, the big thing that helped me make the final or the leap of faith, as it were,
uh-huh.
is the right tools for the.
Mhm.
I had tried working with Wacom tablets. I've heard both Wacom and Wacom. A guy that I really admire, an artist I really admire by the name of Aaron Blade. He says, "So, all right, I'll run with it." He can. I says, "I got him to work." There have been days.
That works on all technology, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it does, and the pronunciation is Wakeham. Although my suggestion with technology is keep a found something near you, so that when it starts acting up, you just pick it up and threaten with it. It should start working immediately.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you have to
Threatening is
threaten it
key.
in the native language. Otherwise, it won't understand you.
No, it's a mallet. That's as you don't need to go native for that. That's universal. And if we ever want to, we could break something. We have mine who we just have them stand near it, and if it can still function after 5 minutes, 90% chance it's been hardened.
But to finish answering the question, at the beginning of the ether stream process,
Mhm.
the very beginning of that, I was still drawing by hand, scanning it into the computer,
Mm.
and doing colorization on a iPad Pro using Procreate.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot of book or a series called Imagine FX and studied and learned some of the processes, and okay, that I was able to get a decent image and got better and better, and all right, this is functioning. And then we started a Kickstarter for EtherStream using my process, and it didn't go over well.
Hmm.
I failed. So I begged them, give me another shot. Let me learn from this. And I had to up my game. I seriously had to up my game and start thinking digitally and embrace it.
Did you start out with the vehicle then?
No, I was doing
You're
pilot
doing characters?
characters and pilot.
Okay.
I had tried a few of the ships, but not my strongest. But I gave it my best, gave it the old college try, which is what they tell you to do, and I did. But I went back to learning mode and tried to figure out what am I doing wrong. Listen to what the people were commenting on the work. All right, how do I learn from them? Listen. And we tried again. And this time, using Photoshop, taking everything that I learned, talking to different artists, sitting down and working with them. How do I do this? Putting the work in.
I was gonna say you need to put a lot into it.
I needed to. And like I said, it worked out. And now we're doing really good with EtherStream and with both Interceptor and Leviathan. And it's all about listening and learning.
And I expect some practice too.
Well, yeah, that's got a lot to do with it. I still have a lot to learn, I'm sure. And just when you think everybody's got, okay, that's all I've got left to learn, this is all they're going to hit me with, somebody comes out with AI. Something new to learn how to work with. There's a prime example of ignoring the guideline.
Have you studied much anatomy?
Yes, I have. And the great thing that I learned about anatomy is when you're working with creatures and animals, it's very important to understand how they work, how a muscle rolls over a joint, how a back leg of a certain kind of an animal is different between the animals. Sometimes they run, sometimes they are jumpers. So how do you draw a jumping? How do you draw a animal that is more of a glider? I mean, you understand those anatomies so that you can. I'm gonna make that a collar instead of a chin. I'm gonna bring his jaw. I'm up like that. That's better. So yeah, there's a lot of studying anatomy. But the strange thing about different anatomies for different creatures is relative to a great quote by Jim Lee, who is head of DC Comics right now, creative director at DC. When he and a bunch of authors left their homes at DC and Marvel, and they put out an Art of Image comics, he said, and it's great to understand anatomy, but the great thing about comic book anatomy is that it doesn't necessarily have to be anatomically correct. It just has to look cool. Because if you sat down and tried to name and point out all the muscles, there's a lot of muscles there that aren't on the human body.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't thought about the creatures and you know their different modes of movement.
There's a lot of great exercises I came across watching different artists. And again, back to Eric, he given a talk and was trying to get people to put together an animal that uses 3 different known animals as reference. Whatever you want to draw, go ahead and draw it. But the main thing is it had to be based on 3 existing animals, which was a fun exercise.
Yeah, because you had to fit those different parts together.
Exactly.
If I see it, I can draw it.
That's the idea. And I put together a combination of a moose, a cougar, and a bear.
Hmm.
And the bear was the view that you were looking at this animal was from behind it. Because I already had a thought of how can I make this funny.
That does sound like the safest place to be on a creature like that.
Uh-huh. So I focused on this animal having a very large rear end. And made sure that the legs were very cat-like. On a big heavy bear, put the antlers and the ears and extend the nose. The moose were represented, but really the focus on this piece was the bears behind. So once I had it all worked out and all drawn up, I was asked, so what do you call that? Anybody want to guess what I called my combination moose, cougar, and bear with a great big fat behind? No takers? I called it a caboose. Okay, now I've got a face that I like, brow that I like. All right, zoom out. Let's get him.
See, I'm now picturing a way of trying to create monsters, and instead of just trying to come up with something, you have this big old array of animals, and you're rolling dice.
That
Like roll 3 die, and you pick 3 monsters, and you just combine them.
there is a artist put out a product called Creature Genesis or something. Yeah, something Genesis. It is all about. He treats it like a game. Where no, that's a different guy. I'm getting to him. There's the one guy who it's all based on rolling dice. He treats it like a game. And if you think about how the rolling of the dice means that this kind of a character or this kind of a creature, and this piece of information is going to give you what you're supposed to create for this, what kind of armor, what kind of how do you base your information, how do you decide what to draw, and it's all that he is trying to portray. But the game is set as a dice roll. Now there's another guy that I really like working with this process. Also, he sets it up like a game, and that's called Reckless Deck. And you pick cards from the decks, and on what you drew, what cards you drew. No pun intended. Oh, I have both game systems, but I can never find anybody to play with me. And it's so sad because I want to play the game so much, but nobody ever plays.
Wasn't one of them time?
You can play it timed, but
Have you
I
considered
think
joining
the
an
main
online game?
thing is I've searched. Has been a while since I've searched, but I've never found anybody who's
You know, we have a channel
any
for that
community that
here on FASA.
for
LFG, looking for game. I think there's even some guys who are on there that managed to get an actual in-person game. Turned out that there's 4 or 5 of them near each other. So if you go up under General, and then under Gen Con is LFG looking for game. So you could always post in there that you're looking to get a chance to play. And for anyone else interested, you can see because you can follow on the screen what I did.
Thank you,
Now we'll go
Andy.
back. Oh, you're very welcome. And make that big again.
Maybe this year at Gen Con, I can find a group who is willing to play an artistic game because there's no set winner. I think that's one of the problems
Well, but all
that I've faced
RPGs,
with people wanting to play.
all RPGs have no winner. You can't win at Earth Dawn. So your people to do that type of game with are the ones that are here.
Very cool. Maybe with any luck, I can find a group at Gen Con. Play the game. Play a game of artistic endeavor. Because there is a lot of creativity in storytelling when creating a new character.
Well, really doing a new character it involves asking a lot of questions of who were they, what are they doing, what do they want, where do they want to be.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Could you write a story about this samurai dwarf?
Could I? Poorly, because I still think commas are
Is-
like decorative, but I did get through most of college. So yes, I could. I mean, obviously, his mom worked in the rice field and his dad's a lord. That's what got him the leg up to become a samurai, but it still has that bit of taint. He has to prove himself just that little bit more to get above the taint of his birthright.
He's always going to face that prejudice that he's not
Yep.
something that's expected of him.
He can never go back and rewrite history and be a true legal son.
Would he be considered a Ronin?
I would think so. And again, that's part of that stare, that seriousness. He feels like he has to be perfect.
And
Prove
no
that even
what?
a poorly bred bastard child can be that good. Unless you don't like that, and then we can come up with a different backstory.
I'm sure there's a million backstories that could be come up with, but now
Did
it's
he train himself, or did he have a sensei?
Yeah,
somebody taught him
even
the
a
way.
Ronin, somebody had to teach him. But what he really wants is to grow up and be a scary, scary fairy hag that will terrify my players. That's what he wants to be when he grows up.
Right.
Fine. I will one day get my scary, scary monster for my players. Brad's in here. He'll love that.
You got a rat when I did the 365.
Mm-hmm.
There
They
was
they are not
rat
sure that they're
piece.
in love with their rats. And technically they're fey
Ah.
dormice. And I don't feel like they love them as much as I wanted them to.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's perfect. So out of character knowledge.
You also got the dragon.
Mm-hmm. So out of character knowledge, the dormice are neither really good or bad. They're basically like, oh goodness, what's that called in the circle of life? Like the bugs and the things that help deteriorate and break down the bodies. Decomposers.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what they do is they
Think you're
take
right.
high emotional objects and they suck out that emotion to either make it a neutral or to make it the opposite of what it is. So they decompose that emotional energy from an item. And their current ones eat negative energy and make things positive. So maybe it was used in a murder, but now it will give a good guy a bonus to their bluff or something like that. But that means that there are other dormice that take good things and eat that and make bad out of it. And so now the dormice are in a war with another set of dormice. And they don't even know if they like the damn dormice, but now they're involved in a war with the dormice. See? It's awesome. So, what's our samurai carrying in that? Was it a canteen on the other side?
Well, you've got the sword in his left hand, and that is his helmet. Okay. Again, the more I go, the more I want to have gone back and gotten proper reference for armor and robes. Not a bad idea piece, but it's definitely not what I would call the final piece.
One was technically the first of 11.
Actually, the second of 11 because or third because I've done the thumbnail, the rough. I'm now working on the key line.
It's almost like he's emerging from a mist.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
Oh, that's kind of
Is
cool.
that the gray?
Yeah, because
So-
he was kind of obscured before, but now he's becoming more distinct.
Oh, it's almost like he's solidifying. I was gonna say, I was thinking about coming out of an actual mist, like stepping out of one. Did you ever play L5R, Debbie?
Yeah, I did one time.
Can't you see a dwarf samurai in L5R? One of the oh goodness, what
Oh,
are they
yeah.
called? The spellcasters. I'll remember when I don't need to. But anyhow, one of those
Oh,
stepping
right,
out, like that
right.
would be as a dwarf male, that would be wicked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cyrus
Okay,
the
there
Floyd said
is my
Woojin. Is Woojin a character from something?
key line.
It's not the spellcaster's names.
No, I think that might be the ring.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
In
Now I can
L5R, the spellcasters are called Shugenja,
rid of it.
Shugenja. But
Mm.
a dwarf samurai Ronin Sujinja coming out of an evil like shadow area.
Mhm.
Oh, a type of mage. Okay. Oh, from the Forgotten Realms. Okay. Doo-doo-doo. Mysterious powers similar to wizards. From Forgotten Realms. Huh. I don't remember that. I have to go back and look at it.
So the shade makes him more three-dimensional.
Absolutely.
I could already see the perspective even before. But now it's even more pronounced.
So, Don, is
The
he so old
direction
that he has like white gray hair? Or is he going to have dark
I
hair?
was going to ask that question of the group. Is he going to have black hair or is he going to have white hair?
All right, let's see what people think.
I was trying to decide that. Now, dwarves have very hard lines to them and hard creases, and at least in my imagination, they do. So, is he older than Gimli?
I vote he's got white hair. I'm not seeing. What about you, Debbie?
I would vote for black hair, actually.
There says so hell. He said salt and pepper. So that's like one for every possible combination. White, black, both.
Let's make it as hard as possible.
Let's see.
Would salt and pepper be harder?
No,
No?
no. And in a minute, you're going to find out why I love working on toned paper so much.
Oh, so Darcy came up with ginger then. No, not ginger. Although I am fond of gingers, but no.
Okay. Now I'm going to go under. I am going to. Nope. Change my color. Oh, And
Looks
that
like you're brightening the
light-
white highlights.
Exactly. Giving it even more depth. Now,
So which type of tablet do you use?
I am working on a Cintiq Pro.
Is there a reason you like it better than the Wacom's?
Cintiq is made by Wacom.
Oh, I don't know a lot about them. So it's a type of Wacom.
Exactly. Whack 'em. Mostly, I like it because it works well with Mac.
Oh. Yeah, Ross was giving me the disapproving glare because my phone is not an Apple. And I'm like, no, I would not pay Apple money. I'm not fond of them. So I would want
To each
something
their
that
own.
played nice with yes, Windows.
There's a lot of stuff that'll work with Windows, but whether it plays nice with it is a different story.
Nice enough. I don't need it to be perfect. They don't have to go out to dinner. They do have to give a back rub first, but they don't have to go out to dinner. You know, keep it casual. That's what software does,
Yeah,
right?
but there's some stuff that says they work for Windows that even getting a back rub would be impressive.
Are they friends with benefits?
Totally Netflix and chill. I've thought about getting one of those like forever remarkable papers where you're supposed to be able to draw in color, take notes, and it transcribe all of it to text that's readable. But I keep thinking that they should be able to do better or do more, and so I keep looking. But the idea that it
Well,
could take my
like I said
chicken
earlier
scratch.
in the thing, like
Sorry, go ahead.
the thing that I was saying earlier in the presentation, I fought it and didn't accept it until I found the right tool. So again, for you, it's all going to be about finding the right tool for you. And once you do, I think you'll enjoy it even more.
I mean, my stick figures are very complex some days. You should have seen my ones for 1879 Samsut, zombies. It was awesome. I did a great job. I even made them girl zombies. See, Brad said Windows doesn't play nice with others. Windows gets sprayed with water bottle and batted with a rolled up newspaper and told to behave itself, and then sometimes it listens. That sounds right. Yeah, yeah. That sounds about right. Windows is
I
actually
mean,
a
Brad's
cat.
not wrong.
Windows is an ill
That's
behaved
an
cat.
insult to cats.
Cats are evil. Windows is evil. It's all evil. It's fine.
I've mentioned my friend who has issues with Microsoft products, correct?
Doesn't everybody have problems with Microsoft
And how he
products?
gets them to crash. He gets them to crash by telling them to print.
Well, there you go. That'll do it.
He's crashed hospitals by printing reports.
He's printing too
Well,
many
clearly
reports.
you're not supposed to print reports.
Is the printer a brat?
A brat he can control.
Yeah, sure. Tell any parent that.
Not that kind of brat. He's the guy I bring in and I tell him break something.
Oh, you want the day off, do you?
No, it's because I built it and I want to make sure it can actually withstand a lot of stuff. So if he can't break it, I'm about 95% of the way there. And he's managed to blue screen printers.
See, I'm beginning to feel like I could help you out a lot. I can totally mess up things. I'm very good at that. Let's see, although from Brad. Oh my, sorry. Darius just said it must be an HP printer. Then Brad said, although Apple products in my experience sit in the corner and eat craft paste. And every once in a while you have to deal with the bowel obstruction. So Brad likes, what is it, Linux? Is that what it's called? That must be what that is.
Linux is a good OS.
Linux is for people who know what they're doing. I don't know enough to get to play
That
with
is
Linux.
accurate. With
I'm
a
like
little
that.
bit of help, you will probably have an easier time with Linux than you will with Windows.
It's possible. I'm like that 4-year-old that, like, what was I going to say with it? I don't remember anymore. But it equivalated to breaking all the toys in toddlers, and that's why nobody lets me play with Linux. Brad says exactly. Linux does its jobs, but only after you've given it explicit instructions on how to do so and told about 6 different ways not to shoot itself in the foot. Yeah, I'm not trustworthy enough for that. So for those of you out there, if I wanted to play on one of these tablet things, what tablet would you recommend? Because apparently yours is very expensive, Don.
The Cintiq or the
I thought the Cintiq
or the
one.
other the one the
Maybe I got it.
Cintiq one is very expensive. That
Yeah, I thought
the
that I looked it up.
other
It was pretty
one that
pricey.
I have is the iPad Pro, and a program you can download onto your iPad Pro being Procreate.
Mm. And so that allows you to use it to draw.
That's what I use.
Procreate's a good program.
Is it expensive?
I'm not sure how user friendly it is.
Depends on the version you get. The version with free.
See, since I'm not much of an artist, I really like the ones that have, and I've been told that there are programs that can actually do this. So you don't have to necessarily buy a specific tablet, but that you can write and it will translate all that into text so that you could then, like, send it in a report or something. Because my handwriting's really bad.
Yeah, that's built into iPads now.
Yeah. So my handwriting's awful. However, it's easier than typing most days. I'm a very bad typist.
Yeah, you'll probably do newer iPads with a pencil. There's an app called Freeform that's actually built in. It's not as powerful as Procreate, but it does allow you to draw and mess around with things. And it does have the built-in for handwriting to some prettier. And it can about 40% of the time translate my writing.
That's not bad. Brad said he likes Photoshop better. He says he's better at Photoshop than at drawing, except for stuff like schematics. I can do straight lines. You throw organic curves at me and I get lost. I draw stick figures most of the time. So I did, however, have a talking about the evil AI. I wanted a quick picture for a possible NPC for Sunday's 1879 live play. So I was playing with the stupid AI thing to try to come up with something that would work. And of course, the orc ended up with like 18 extra teeth. It was like 3 extra, which was weird because it's an odd number. But so I put it in a old school program called Paint and like did the best I could to erase the teeth so they weren't as noticeable. Because I'm old school and not good at any of the techno stuff. But it worked. Not perfect, but it worked. Well, he's coming along nice. Do you have a name for him yet, Don?
Not yet. Anybody want to toss something into the ring?
Komori. It means bat.
Why?
Because I like the name. Let's see. Brad, it's a fae pretending to be an orc. Too many teeth is common thing with changelings and such. That's actually probably true, Brad. The AI wants you guys to go up against a changeling fae. That can be done. So let's see other names. Yuji. It's a combination. It's a typical boy name in Japanese. It's a combination of generous and health. So it's basically wishing upon the child good health, an abundance of health. It's what we named Rescue Number 2 because he kind of needed some good health vibes. But I think it's a nice, cute name.
Why do I have a feeling with this dwarf, a nice, cute name would get him into a lot of fights?
You ever heard of a song called A Man Named Sue?
Oh, yes.
However, like I said, that is actually a very typical traditional Japanese name.
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
Well, if he does get into a lot of fights, think about the fact that he also looks old, and you should be wary of old men in die young.
So Brad says, there you
Mhm.
go. If you want a more Japanese name, make him a man named Su. Haha, TSU. I thought it was funny, Brad. I give you extra credit cookies for that.
He's a teacher's pet.
He is. So, if I remember correctly, there's like 2 main words for dragon. There's Tatsu and Ryu. But Ryu is kind of a bastardized, partially Chinese influenced. So it's not the old school one. Thus, dragon's name is actually Tatsu. Batsy's name is Komori. Frog is Kairu. Cats was Nico. Like I said, UG, Rescue Number 2 there, is a common typical boy name with UG. And the girl we named Bara, which means rose. So, I mean, it could be worse. I could have suggested Bara. That's pretty boy named Sue. Brad says, no, he's just a punster. I'll tell you what I know about dwarves. Very little. Oh, that's terrible, Brad. It's terrible. Sorry about that. I lost sound for a second. I like his helmet. Dire Sith Lord said he's coming up short on criticism about that. That's y'all are terrible. Y'all are terrible. Yeah, gamers actually, as a general rule, love puns. I've met very few gamers that do not like puns. The whole like community thing.
Oh my God. Run out of time. Because I still want to get a very good suggestion put into this.
For the name?
Oh, excuse me. Nope. It was something else that came into play earlier in the conversation.
What was that?
You'll see.
So I would play a boy named Sue, but then we'd probably get a strike on YouTube because they're
Yeah.
horribly evil about that.
Well,
But
it
if you
depends. How are
haven't
you
heard
going
it,
to play them?
I was just going to play the music in the background, but I've been told that you'll get strikes because you have music in the background that you don't have rights to.
There's a way to do it where you don't get strikes, but it's not real easy to do.
So what I'll do is I'll recommend if you
Let's
haven't
not
heard
worry
it recently, you should go back and re-listen to it. Still a great song. Still a lot of fun.
By the artist Johnny Cash. At least that's the rendition I know well.
I think he started it, but I could be wrong. Oh. It was written by Shel Silverstein.
Oh?
I mean, like the same, yeah, the children's poet, Where the Sidewalk Ends. I don't know if you know those poems. I'm not
Not
big on
familiar
poetry,
with
but
that poet.
so apparently he wrote the song. Hold on.
Interesting. My
Debbie,
daughter loves
yeah,
Shel Silverstein.
I remember thinking he was really great as a kid, and I didn't like poetry, and that my kids liked him. Surprised you hadn't heard of him, Dawn. See if I can find.
Well, I'm just full of surprises, ain't I? Okay.
He used to write a lot of really kind of silly poems. So here's one: The Clockman. How much will you pay for an extra day? The clockman asked the
Careful.
child. Not one
Do you have
penny.
the rights to read that?
I'm giving credit. I'll
Okay.
just do the first, well, not paragraph, that's not the right word, but not one penny, the answer came, for my days are as many as smiles. But the rest of it goes on. But he's a children's poet. And apparently he wrote that, and then it was made famous by, of course, as you said, Johnny Cash. But I didn't realize that that's who had written the. I didn't know he wrote songs. Yeah, we had to play royalty-free music. Grumble, grumble. Apparently, Bride is not a fan of Johnny Cash. Stanza, thank you, Mr. Pink. Ah. For anyone who doesn't know, Mr. Pink is the official, unofficial co-host for Radio Free Freedonia on Thursday night's podcast, and saves me with things like stanza when I can't remember the words. Poetry and songwriting are related. I get that. You didn't say you didn't like Johnny Cash. You said a while ago someone was using an AI to emulate Johnny Cash's voice to have him singing modern songs. I said if it's robot singing, then it should be Johnny Crypto. Dude, that doesn't sound like you like Johnny Cash. See, I grew up on old school country. So I have a fondness, especially for Conway Twitty because it annoys the hell out of my mother. I was at an auction and I bought a box of 27 different Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn with Conway Twitty records. So of course I bought them. And the lady that I outbought was like, "You must really like Johnny Cash," and I'm like, or not Conway Twitty, and I'm like, "My father does, and my mother hates him, so it's like a double present. Make Dad happy, piss off my mother." She loves this little prank war. She really does. But if people get really kind of driving you up a wall with music, just start playing Conway Twitty until they shut up. They'll let you play anything you want just to get the Conway Twitty to stop.
Oh, there's worse than Conway.
Well, I mean,
Who was the #1 country artist in England?
no idea.
Oh God, I've forgotten his name, but he was definitely not. He very high pitched and very whiny.
Tiny Tim?
No, that was a different. That's not country, but
Ah,
it was the same venue, I guess.
Han Rhymes' first album. Wow. Oh, man. All right, so our little samurai dwarf, he's coming together.
It's very, very good looking.
Getting very close to adding that suggestion in that I liked so much.
I don't know if you can hear it, but Froggy's snoring in the background. It's pretty funny. Oh, he gets brighter colored socks. Well, technically they're wrappings, not socks. But they're socks. They're socks. Wrapping socks. Does wrapping socks make your feet a present every day?
No, but the smell does.
Tabby socks.
On your chamber door. Unwrap, wrap on your chamber door. Oh,
Have you ever wore tabby
Nevermore.
socks?
thank you.
Tabby socks are the ones with the big toe separated out from the other toes. So they're like feet mittens. They're weird. They feel very weird. I got some for me and the girls one year for Yule.
The wife likes to wear fluffy socks, and I kind of like them now too.
See, fluffy is one thing, but these literally, instead of being like all your toes are together or every toe is separated because they like toe socks, it's just
Yeah.
your big toe is separated out and then the other toes are all together. So like just
like
the
a
one
ninja
toe
sock.
separate. Yeah, that's what a tabby sock is. It's yeah. They wear them with the little flippy flop thong sandals, which is why your big toe is separated out, but not the others. It feels weird. One of the girls liked it and the other one just couldn't do it. It bothered her too much. Pretty easy to guess which one was which. My autistic child decided that they were a no. The other one took glee and then had 2 pairs.
I like rubbing my toes together too much. This is a wonderful conversation.
Isn't
Right?
that how you start a fire?
No, I have rather moist skin.
Well, then that's not going to make a very good fire. You're doing it
Right.
wrong.
No, it's not.
All right. So we've got some cool shading and highlighting.
So now I'm at a point I can try something.
So Brad came up with at some point I'll have to write up a Japanese style inspired aquatic sword warrior just so we can call him Swamarabi. That's awful, Brad. Dire Sith, I don't think you're supposed to encourage Brad. All right, Don, what are we doing?
Well, I gotta ground him, number one.
All right, go to your room.
That's
Quit talking back to your elders and sit there and think about your shit until you can behave. All right, you're welcome. I got that part. When you're ready to apologize to your father, you can come out of your room. There you go. I got you.
no.
Oh, good, a vacation.
I always loved it. People would be like, "Oh, I ground my kid. I
Now
sent him to
I've
the room," and I'm
grounded
like, "Your
him.
kid has a TV, a PlayStation, you know, a laptop, a tablet, a phone.
That has never been a thing.
That's
my
not
house.
much of a grounding."
Never had a TV, never will have a TV in my room. My kid never had a TV, nothing.
There was a post I remember reading as of a son talking back to his mother saying, "Why are you saying, you never punish, my sister, you don't never tell her to go to her room. She stays in her room. If she got in trouble, I tell her to get out into the living room and socialize with us or go out and touch grass."
So Brad says he doesn't need any
Never mind being
encouragement.
sent to my room because I like to read books and listen to music.
He says, this just comes out. Mr. Pink says his fingernails look glowy. Yeah, it's like he just has some like day glow, glow in the dark, white, bright nail polish. I see that. And Dire Sis says it's a moral imperative to make puns, I guess. Don't encourage Brad. So is he in like a grassland or a swamp? He's not in a field of corn.
Kinda. Because then what I'm gonna do after I get rid of some of this stuff that needs to be gotten rid of. Fortunately, I've put
You
it
want me
on
to
a
send that
separate
stuff to its
layer
room too?
that I can do. Nah.
Okay.
Are these all stock brushes in Photoshop? Because I don't think I've.
These are not
These-
stock
I don't think
brushes.
so.
These are brushes that I picked up from from different artists and the magazine Imagine FX. Come on. Give me my tool. There's some extra. It's not needed.
I thought he was going to come out of mist. But now he's
Don't get ahead of me.
Oh. Well, you said it was something we said earlier. Did I guess right this time? I mean, he's still not a scary fairy hag monster, but, you know. He's pretty cool.
Guessed again.
I told you, that's what he wants to be when he grows up. That's why he's got that look. He's thinking, wow, what else do I got to do to become a scary fairy hag monster? Maybe if I go kill those kids as they get off the school bus. Just some dark thoughts like that.
Oh.
Brad says it's a missed opportunity.
Oh,
Oh, it's snowing there. Brad says, look, someone has to name all the modules and chapter headers in the books. You know, sometimes coming up with those names is hard. I don't think people realize that. I know watching things like Magic Deeper Secrets and some of those books where they're trying to figure out names for all of these spells and all of these talents and all the talent knacks. It occasionally got either very tongue in cheek or very, oh dear God, not another one. And I think you can tell sometimes with the names which day it was. I think it's Magic Deeper Secrets. If you haven't looked at it, is it Magic Deeper Secrets or is it the other one? Hold on. Let's see. Mystic Paths. Look at the names of all the animal spirits and see if you can figure out what happened. So is that just like an opaque layer? So, or not opaque, sort of see-through, so you don't have to worry about it completely covering up your guy?
pretty much. I'm actually going to decrease the opacity.
And did you do that on a different
I'm
layer?
going to go back with. Yes, I did.
So I would say that
I did indeed.
as a non-artist, that would be the one perk to doing this stuff digitally, is that with the layers, if you don't like something, it's easier to get to.
It is a massive perk.
Yeah. I would say that would be like a huge perk.
Uh-huh. It is.
And unlike on paper,
another thing
when you erase,
is if you really, really hate something, you just put it down.
Just delete the layer?
Say that again. Oh, yeah. Well, again, if you've made something truly awful, a god-awful mistake, oh, why did I do that? I just ruined it. Control Z.
Yeah,
or
undo.
Command Z gets rid of it immediately. Uh-huh. Edit, undo.
Let's see. I think my favorite one was I snuck in the sources from Brad, source book. When they talk about their history with the collapse of the machine people, they call it the Great Shaka, meaning failure. And when you look it up in the lexicon, the literal translation is when the walls fell. If you know, you know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
We're going to tell all the secrets tonight.
There he is,
He's
folks.
coming out of the mist.
Yep.
Exactly.
Brad says not all the secrets, just the ones I'm most proud of. And Mr. Pink says when walls fell. I like it. What do you guys think? Anybody come up with names?
What? Did we decide on a name?
No, I was asking if anybody had thought of a name while you were finishing. DiCaprio. Well, I mean, I don't think that's a good name for the dwarf, James. Oh, he's speaking to Marion. Good meme, though. Yeah. Good meme. Not a good name for the dwarf. What about names for the dwarf? Did you think of one, Don?
Specifically, not yet. Just things I'm trying to settle in on here. Haven't really thought.
Short round.
Short round.
It's been done.
So it's Raiders of the Lost.
That panda.
See, I'm thinking Yuji Tatsu. Generous Health Dragon.
I don't know why, but I was thinking ping.
Okay.
Wrong. Ender.
I don't know why. Probably because I just said big fat panda.
So Dyrus said Iraira
King is also named after Mulan.
Suru. I'm sure that has a meaning. That looks like actual Japanese things. Ping is also the name Mulan used. Irritated. There you go. Iraira Suru.
What's the name mean? What?
It means
How do you
apparently
spell it?
irritated. Hold on. What's Brad's?
Fit.
Brad, what does that one mean? Short round. Yeah. So Iraira.
Iraira.
Aira. So
Okay,
air.
one more time.
So a total
Slower.
Iraira.
I A I R A
I.
R
So air is in the middle. AIR.
I. I don't like that first R anyway, so we're good.
So I'll try one more time. IRAIRA. Welcome to FreedoniaCon 2025, where we still can't spell. IRAIRA. There you go. And then SURU. You know what, Brad? I totally believe that you would. Andy can only spell what somebody else wrote out. She's really just reading. She's not spelling. Anything past second grade spelling, I have to Google check it.
Sorry to interrupt. Is nobody paying attention to the main room voice, like text chat? Because I've been typing in there.
Oh,
I've been
Did we
reading
not-
everything that's been in the main room chat. Where are you at?
Oh, okay.
The side room chat has 3 messages from Hobbs.
Okay.
There's a side
So,
room?
I must have missed it.
Well, there's the Discord added side room chat for voice chats, and it's not always easy to get to.
Oh,
It looks like a voice bubble on the right hand.
Yeah.
I didn't see any. I'm
So
sorry.
it's something that unless you're paying attention to it, you don't see it.
corner.
I'm sorry. I didn't see them.
so
I've been
Andy-
reading the actual main room chat. So yes, Dawn.
how do we sell prints of this? How does FASA sell prints of this if people are interested in buying it?
I don't know that we do. I can talk to Ross about that. But typically speaking, as a company, for us to sell something like that, we'd have to print it in 1,000, and I don't know that we would sell 1,000 prints.
You're right. Just
Because
throw
Andy's
it
practical.
out there to the masses and say,
Well,
okay.
I mean, if we have decent card stock, we could, with a decent printer, we could print them on demand.
I was going to say,
Or
yeah,
we could
PDF is
Put it
also
up as
as a PDF. And that's
a
something
free
that,
PDF. They can,
well, or put it behind that thing with the secrets of maybe eventually happening. And could go on
It will
that.
happen.
But it could possibly go on that. But I like him. I think he's
all
cool.
things to be thought of. Yeah. Anyway, if there's no other questions, does anybody else have any question for me? How I do what I do, what I do? Do, da da da.
yeah.
It's very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you for all your input. Thank you for everybody who contributed questions. He was fun. And again, it's starting from nothing, figuring out a silhouette, and then building on it.
Mr. Pink says he loves your
If
style.
I did this one again, thank you.
I
I just
still
wish I
vote that
had
it's absolutely
had-
not in the least a scary, horrifying fairy hag monster. Doesn't look at all like one. Not in the least.
I did one in the 365.
Did you really?
Yes, I did a couple.
I'll have to see if I find them.
There is a wood nymph that is turning, and they're trying to. In the lore that I put with her, she is turning from the pretty and exotic and full. She's for whatever reason turning ugly, and the community as a whole, when a fae goes this way or a wood nymph goes in this direction,
Mm-hmm.
they want her because they don't kill her, they just plant her so that she can become a tree and that's what I wrote for
That's
for her backstory. There's a couple things that again, that's where I went. There's a few ugly, nastified things that I drew in the 365. But you'll see those as they are being put together. There is going to be a 365 along with other creature books being laid out.
Yeah, I'm
I
actually really
was
excited for
told-
several of the creatures books. Because we've got, eventually, James is coming out, which is going to be gorgeous. And then yours
I'm
sounds like
very
it's going to be a
excited.
lot of fun.
I'm very excited to see James's work. He is a tremendous artist.
He kills it. All right. I think with that, if there's no other questions for Dawn, you want to say goodbye and we'll stop the recording?
I will say goodbye as I say goodbye in all of my live streams. To my audience, I say kind to each other, be patient with each other, and when you draw what you see, not what you know. And me, I see dragons. What up? Have a good night, all.